How would you describe a man whose career has been riddled with controversies but is still respected by peers, subordinates, and onlookers? At the onset of his retirement, here are some stories that attempt to describe India's Army Chief, General V.K. Singh.
General V.K. Singh was commanding a battalion in Faizabad, and there was an altercation between the troops of two battalions during an inter-unit boxing match. So it became a disciplinary issue. But as battalion commander, General Singh, in his statement to the court of inquiry and all, he said, "Look, whosoever in my battalion may have been involved in this fracas, but I, being the leader of this team, I am responsible for it," and all that, which gave an impression that here is a man who is ready to take on even blame for his subordinates, and not just the credit, but the blame for his subordinates. So he turned out, so the impression people had about him is that he is a good leader.
I met him in Samba when he was a brigade commander, because as Colonel of the Rajputana Rifles, I visited one of my battalions, which was part of his brigade. So in that connection, I met him, which was normal. But I do not recall anything exceptional. He was like any other brigadier I would have met in different areas.
Despite leaving an illustrious impression behind, General V.K. Singh has had his share of criticism for his handling of certain issues over the last several months. There were his frequent interviews with the media, and most importantly, the dispute over his date of birth.
The whole thing, unfortunately, goes back to his date of birth. I am personally convinced, with the document that I have had access to in the public domain, that he is born in 1951. And he has not been given justice. Till that time, I don't think the chief had taken any irrational action or any action that could amount to lack of discretion on his part. So most of the action that can be ascribed to him have been taken in the last 3.5 months. So it is difficult to avoid the inference that that personal case, he did say it is all personal. It is difficult to infer that that did not impact.
The handling of these issues, and particularly the age issue with the interjection of the media is definitely something which I have also not really been very comfortable with, and one would have possibly liked it to be dealt with more discreetly and more cautiously.
Probably some statements could have definitely been avoided, and knowing that people were attributing meanings to what he was saying, he could have possibly been a little more circumspect about what he was saying.
Regardless of the mixed opinions about his tryst with the media, General Singh has managed to stand out during his tenure as the leader of the Indian Army.
He has been a different army chief. That's what I will rate them, because you see, every army chief has done his best for the organization and for the nation. But he has also done the best for the army in his own time.
I would not put him in the category of General Thimaiya or General Manekshaw, Field Marshal Manekshaw, for example. But then my personal impression is that some of the chiefs whom I have had the privilege of knowing, working under them, knowing to the extent not socially or something like that, but having worked under them and all that, I'm sure I think he has been a better general than many of them.
His tenure will go down in the history as a controversial tenure. There have been positives about him, which I always support. There also have been actions which are not so positive. And it is my fear that public memory being what it is, the negatives are retained longer than the positives.
General V.K. Singh is one of the last serving soldiers to have participated in the 1971 war. His retirement clearly marks the end of an era, not only for the Indian Army, but for the entire nation. Paromita Banerjee, Delhi Mint.